It was a cold October night when young archaeologist Evelyn Hart made her way slowly toward an abandoned mansion in the north of England. The place was called Blackwood Manor, built in 1893 by Lord William Blackwood. But in 1902, the entire Blackwood family mysteriously vanished inside the house. No one had entered it since. Evelyn was searching for clues about its dark past. Legend had it that Lord Blackwood was involved with an ancient pagan cult, and somewhere in the basement of the mansion, there was a hidden ritual chamber. As she arrived, storm clouds gathered above, rain threatened the silence. She gently pushed open the rotting door. The creak echoed through the halls like a warning. Inside, everything was frozen in time, furniture coated in dust, chandeliers webbed in spider silk, and cracked portraits glaring from the walls. According to the journals she brought, the secret chamber was behind the dining hall wall. As she scanned the stone with her flashlight, she noticed one block was slightly off. Pressing it in, the wall groaned and began to slide open. Behind it, a narrow staircase descended into the earth. The walls were etched with strange symbols, horned figures, eyeless men, and a Latin phrase over and over, "Do not awaken him." At the end of the corridor, she entered an ancient ritual room. In the center was a pentagram, carved into the stone floor, and a black marble altar. Chains hung from the ceiling, swaying though there was no wind. As she reached into her bag for her camera, a whisper brushed her ear. "Evelyn ... you found him ... She froze. No one was there. The room grew cold and naturally cold. Her breath misted in the air. Then, a crack split the far wall. From within seeped a dark smoke-like entity. It had no eyes, yet it stared. It knew her. She ran. Up the stairs, through the halls, but the mansion had changed. The front door was gone. Every hallway twisted back into itself. No matter where she turned, she always ended up in the same corridor. Something else was inside. Adrian Voss, a scholar who had vanished in 1910. His face was pale, his eyes hollow. When he appeared before her, he only whispered one thing: "You set him free. There is no way out." Then the lights went out. 3 days later, Evelyn's car was found parked outside the manor. No sign of her, no camera. Just a muddy, leather-bound notebook, half buried in the soil. The last line read, "Blackwood is waking." London, British Occult Archives, November 3, 2023. Dr. Julian Reeve, a historian and expert in occult studies, had spent years researching the disappearance of Adrian Voss. His journals, sketches, and increasingly unhinged accounts had led Julian down many dark paths. One morning he found a muddy notebook left on his desk. No name, no note inside. He read, "Evelyn Hart entered Blackwood. Set him free." Julian dropped his pen. Evelyn was his student, and now she was gone. The mention of him made Julian's blood run cold. He knew what this meant. Nixather, a dark entity not from Greek myth, but whispered through medieval texts. A leader, a force that bends reality and traps the living in infinite loops of horror. Evelyn was caught, but there was one chance left: an ancient sealing ritual. Julian had no choice. He headed for Blackwood Manor. Evelyn no longer felt time. There was no day or night. The mansion was alive, reshaping itself. Sometimes, she heard children's screams. Other times, she saw her own reflection weeping blood. In one room, she met herself multiple versions. One cried, one laughed, one bled. No time, ... No escape, ... Only eyes, always watching ... Then, the walls cracked. A bell rang from deep below. The corridor to the ritual chamber opened once again. Evelyn descended. The altar glowed faintly now, and around it stood 3 black-robed figures. One spoke with a voice that echoed without end. "You were chosen, Evelyn. Nixather lives in you now. There is no going back." She tried to step back, but her feet no longer touched the ground. She floated. A chilling force entered her body. Nixather had claimed her. Julian arrived at the mansion just past midnight. The sky was pitch black, no stars. He approached with a torch and scrolls of Latin prayers. The door was slightly open. As he entered, whispers began. "You came, ... He wants you to ... The rooms shifted endlessly, hallways looped. Each room was a nightmare: burning books, screaming students, graveyards made of mirrors. Eventually, Julian reached the altar chamber. there stood Evelyn. But it wasn't her anymore. Her eyes were black voids. Her voice carried 1,000 echoes. "Don't try, Julian. It's too late. Julian began the ritual. The symbols lit up. The walls trembled. Chains snapped. The floor cracked beneath them. Evelyn screamed, "I am him now." As the ritual completed, Nixithar was pulled from her. But Evelyn's body could not survive the separation. One final, unearthly scream in silence. Now, only a glowing blue orb remained on the altar. And Evelyn's necklace. Julian stepped out of the manor. The sun had risen, but the sky remained dark. Behind him, Blackwood Manor faded from existence, vanished without a trace. In his pocket, he clutched Evelyn's necklace. Inside the glass, 2 small black eyes watched him. London, 1 week later. Since his return from Blackwood Manor, Dr. Julian Reeve hadn't slept properly. Shadows moved in the corners of his flat. Mirrors showed his reflection a split second too late. And only sometimes he heard Evelyn whispering his name in the hum of his refrigerator, in the rattle of the window panes, in the static between radio stations. He tried to write down what had happened, but every time he picked up a pen, the words changed. "I closed the gate, turned into I opened the door." The necklace sat locked in a lead box under his desk, but even sealed away, it pulsed with warmth at night. And sometimes, when he passed by the mirror above the fireplace, he swore he saw black eyes blinking back at him. He had sealed Nick's OTHAR ... hadn't he? In the tunnels beneath an abandoned church in Hackney, a young graffiti artist named Milo explored alone, camera in hand. The tunnel was rumored to be curse-sealed since the 1940s, but he'd found an old maintenance hatch open. As he moved deeper, his flashlight flickered. He scanned the walls tagged with fresh symbols. Not gang signs, something older. Crude drawings of horned figures, eyes with no pupils, Latin phrases scratched into stone. "He is not bound. He is dispersed." Then, Milo's camera captured something. A figure, tall, thin, shadowed, standing motionless at the end of the tunnel. He blinked. It was gone. He ran slamming into a wall. When he looked back at the photo, the figure had no face, just black smoke where its head should have been. Desperate, Julian returned to the British Occult Archives, digging through manuscripts that no one had touched in centuries. In a forbidden tome known as the Severed Veil, he found a passage that chilled him. If Nixithar is removed but not destroyed, he becomes many, not one prison, but thousands. He drifts in the minds of the weak. He sleeps in glass, in water, in signal, waiting to be believed in. He hadn't sealed him. He'd scattered him. Within days, strange reports surfaced. A woman in Manchester spoke backwards for 3 straight hours and claimed she saw the goat-faced child in the wires. A commuter train in Glasgow vanished from surveillance for 6 minutes. When it reappeared, everyone on board was asleep, muttering the same chant. He sees through the blackened veil. In Paris, a girl drew symbols on her walls in blood and painted one word across her mirror, Blackwood. Julian now understood the truth. Nixithar was not bound to the house. He was bound to awareness, to memory, to story, and now every retelling gave him shape. Every whisper, every article, every photograph was a seed. And Julian, the last one who tried to stop him, had unknowingly become his prophet. Julian sat in his flat, staring at the necklace one last time. It was glowing, not with light, but with something deeper recognition. Behind him, the mirror began to fog. A handprint appeared on the glass, but his own hands were still at his side. A familiar voice whispered, "You brought me here." And for the first time, Julian smiled.